8,
You're watching The
7,
Experience, Comic Culture
6,
and Sales.
5,
Streaming live daily to
4,
Facebook, YouTube,
3,
Twitch, and Twitter.
2, 1.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Dan Wickline Show. I'm your host, and today we are going to cover the latest news. We will talk about a promise that Marvel Studios made to us, and then we'll cover a little bit of my thoughts on Agatha and the Penguin. Triple B specifically asked for Agatha, so we will make that happen. But, by the way, hello to Triple B and to Ed. And stick around and we'll get started just after this. So, hello, welcome to the Dan Wickline Show here on The Experience. We got a great lineup today besides me. You'll also see What's in the Box with Miss Jen. There'll be the Geek Chat tonight. And of course, SketchUp is doing their New York Comic Con preview tonight. So you want to stick around for all of that. Let's jump right in. We got a lot of news to cover. We got a lot of stuff in the Marvel topic. And then we want to talk about Agatha and the Penguin. So we are going to jump right into the news. And of course, the big news is Aaron Pierre, the star of Netflix's Rebel Ridge, is going to be in the Green Lantern Corps as John Stewart in the upcoming DC Studios HBO series Lanterns. He's going to be playing opposite of Kyle Chandler, which was finally confirmed as well, who's going to be playing Hal Jordan. Kyle Chandler from Friday Night Lights and a bunch of other shows. You've probably seen him in a dozen things. Now, this is the first actual TV endeavor from live action TV endeavor from James Gunn and Peter Safran and their new, what they're doing with DC Studios. Also, Stewart is an important character in the DC universe. He wasn't the first, but he was one of the first black superheroes for DC. The actual first was Black Lightning. Now, this was an intense casting process, and it came down to Pierre and Stephen James, and they both ended up doing screen tests opposite of Kyle Chandler this last week, and Pierre obviously beat him out. Now, he had been previously cast in the upcoming Blade film, but with all the changes and delays and stuff, he ended up dropping out of that, so now he can be part of the DCU. The series will feature a pair of intergalactic cops, or Green Lanterns, in kind of a true detective-style mystery set in the heartland of America. So yeah, we're taking intergalactic cops and dropping them into, like, Iowa. The character of John Stewart was introduced first in 1971, in Green Lantern number 87 by Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams. He was introduced first, kind of like James Rhodes was for Marvel. He was introduced as himself first, and then eventually became the hero replacement. It's like they parallel. Rhodes and Stewart both ended up taking over for Tony Stark and Hal Jordan. His prominence as a character, though, grew quite a bit when he was included in the Justice League animated series, because they wanted a Green Lantern, but they also wanted a person of color. So they went with John Stewart over Hal Jordan. Gunn took to social media to welcome Pierre, basically confirming the casting. All right, good news for fans of Reacher. The Prime Video series has now been renewed for a 4th season, which is a pleasant surprise because season 3 is not even close to come out. And this comes on the heel of them announcing that they're going to do a Reacher spin-off series starring Maria Sten as Frances Neely from the Reacher series. But this is going to focus on her as a private detective. Now, the early renewal, it really makes a lot of sense because the second season of Reacher was Amazon's most viewed show of 2023. And it really debuted on December 15th. Within 3 days, the episode had surpassed the entire season 1 audience by 50%. Season 3, the upcoming season, which will be in 2025, is based on the 7th book in the Lee Child series called Persuader, and has Reacher going undercover to rescue an informant held by an old foe from Reacher's past. Now, of course, it stars Alan Ritchson, and Maria Sten will also return in season 3, which is really strange because the whole point of the Reacher books is rarely, if ever, to a supporting character return. He moves on to town to town to town, but in this case, they've made Neely's character a recurring. She'll also be with Anthony Michael Hall, Sonia Cassidy, Brian T., Johnny Berchtold, Roberto Montesinos, Daniel David Stewart, and a very large man named Oliver Richters. Look this guy up. He is freaking huge. And his character in the book is supposed to be huge. He's supposed to dwarf Reacher. All right, moving on. Max will not be renewing the Velma series for a 3rd season. The series followed the unsung, underappreciated brains of the Scooby Mystery Inc. Velma has she found her way to balance her detective work with demands of her newfound popularity, and that was the basis for the show. And the 10-episode 2nd season for Warner Brothers just dropped in April, and in a statement released by Max, said over the past 2 years, Minda Kaling and Charlie Grandy have created an incredibly fun and fresh world within the iconic Whodunit franchise. While we won't be moving forward with another season of the series, we thank them for their compelling coming-of-age storytelling, unrivaled clues, and hilarious hijinks. Now, I don't know about you guys. I wasn't sure what the audience was for this show. Who wants to see a Scooby-Doo spinoff without Scooby-Doo? You know, I don't get the point of it. So, anyway. Moving on. Amazon Prime has decided to take a page from Bob Iger's playbook. When Iger first signed Star Wars and he first signed Marvel, the smart thing he did was he let them be them. He didn't try to rework everything. Well, with the recent purchase of MGM, they now have the rights to the character of James Bond. But they've decided to let Ian Productions continue working how they have been successful for decades. Now, Jennifer Salke, who's the global head of Amazon MGM Studios, said there are a lot of ideas about potential actors that have popped up that I thought were interesting. I think there are a lot of different ways we can go. We have a good, close relationship with Eon and Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson. We're not looking to disrupt the way those wonderful films are made. For us, we're taking their lead. Now, she went on to say, the global audience will be patient. We don't want too much time between films, but we're not concerned at this point, which is a really nice way of saying, please take your time, but hurry up anyway. Now, I mean, they didn't just pay $8.5 billion and not want some pretty instant, return on the investment. That's a lot of money to invest. Now, the aforementioned Barbara Broccoli had said that the next film in the Bond series was about 2 years out. The only problem was she said that in 2022. Salke was asked about the possibility of a Bond series and said, when you're looking at an iconic intellectual property like that, you look at what the entire long-term future might be. Of course, you look at every facet. Now, I personally think Bond should never be a series. But series following other 00s, I think, could be great ways to expand on the franchise. All right, one more news story for you. DC Universe star Henry Cavill is joining another universe. Yeah, I know. We seem to be doing these stories all the time. He's joining Warhammer. He's joining Highlander. He's going to be over here. He's going to be over there. He's now the Wolverine. But it turns out he's going to be headlining the Amazon MGM's adaptation of Voltron. Now, this is coming from Rawson Marshall Thuber, who's directing, and he's going to be joining Daniel Quintoy, who's already been cast. Thuber is directing the film from a script he wrote with Ellen Shanman, and the storyline is being kept secret. Now, Deadline first reported about this, that they had won the Voltron project back in 2022. Voltron, of course, is based on the 80s animated TV series that follows a team of space explorers who pilot giant super robots known as Voltron, and was adapted by several Japanese animated TV series for Toei Animation. Now, the original series aired in syndication in 1984, and that was based on the Lion Force Voltron and was adapted from the series Beast King Go Lion. The second series featured the vehicle Team Voltron, which was adapted from the unrelated series Armored Fleet Daruger 15. Voltron Defender of the Universe was the top-rated syndicated children's show for 2 years during the original run, and his franchise extended to 3 follow-up series, several comic books, a line of toys, and ultimately video games. So if you are a Voltron fan or a Henry Cavill fan, they're coming together. So, all right, guys, that's the news. We're going to take a quick break, and we come back, talk to you about the promise Marvel made. Be right back.
Download our app on Google Play and the App Store. It's so simple, even my mommy can use it.
Symphonic verses, Nocturne's romance. A song of romanticized darkness, dreaming death by sleep.
Whoa. Whoa. Did you miss it? Yeah, they can go by pretty fast. Let's slow down the footage.
Welcome. It's time to skim some comics. Miles Morales Spider-Man, I will just tell you that Miles is very important in his role as a vampire. So
It's fine. If you like Hercules, read it. If you don't like it, don't worry about it. It's fine.
The art is still stunning. There's a panel, little spoiler, there's a panel in this where Chitauri first hits Lion-O, and he is the best "did she really just hit me" face I've ever seen put in a comic book.
Wow, live reviews of new comic books so you can be ready for New Comic Book Day. What is this? Oh, I see. It's Minute to Skim It. Part of the experience.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. I agree with you, Eddie. I love Voltron, Battle of the Planets, and Robotech. I'd love to see a Battle of the Planets adaptation. Henry Cavill as Mark, and then you get somebody like Oscar Isaac as Jason. Maybe, I I don't know, Anne Hathaway as Princess. It's a good workout. Yeah. So, hey, one quick news story popped up. If you guys are fans of The Big Bang Theory, there is a spinoff being worked on. Not a lot of details has come up, but according to this new report on Deadline, Kevin Sussman, Brian Posen, and Lauren Lapkus have all signed talent hold deals with the studio so that they're available if this moves forward. If you're not sure who these are, Kevin played the comic shop owner Stuart, Lauren played his girlfriend, and Brian Posen. I have no idea how to describe Brian Posen other than he's Brian Posen. So he's like a poor man's Steve Agee. Yeah, I like that. Old Sheldon. That would be it. No, they're going to wait about 10 years and then bring him back to play Old Sheldon. Posehn? Is that how you pronounce Brian Posehn? Okay. I've been trying to talk Dynamite into doing a Battle of the Planets Voltron crossover comic. That would be epic. I haven't seen a Battle of the Planets comic in... I know Top Cow had it for a while. I'm not sure where that license is right now. Jay says, next week on the Dan Wickline Show, casting 70s and 80s cartoons for live action. I'm going to have to just do one of these episodes that's Ask Me Anything and just let you have fun. He and Jerry Duggan wrote my favorite Deadpool series. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I know he's a comic writer. I know he's also good friends with Patton Oswalt. I'd actually gone to a convention up in San Jose, and they were there. And as I was driving home, I pulled into a Burger King, I think it was, and I sat down and I got a burger. And I looked over the table next to me, and it was Brian Posehn and Patton Oswalt sitting together having a burger. I'm like, all right, that works. We're obviously driving the same speed. All right, let's talk about... This is something I've been thinking about, especially with the recent cancellation of The Acolyte, but it makes Marvel's the better one to bring this up about. See, what Marvel had done it's kind of unprecedented in cinematic history. And I realize we live in a world where unprecedented is kind of overused nowadays, but it really was to launch an interconnected multiple franchise universe that exists on both film and streaming platforms. That wasn't something anybody really was thinking about in 2008. You know, I mean, when Iron Man came out, Kevin Feige dreamed about this, but nobody thought it would actually work. And he literally had Nick Fury pop up at the end of the film to announce that that's what they were doing. And then a couple months later, they rolled out Iron Man and Hulk. Robert Downey Jr. shows up in there, and we've got a full-blown cohesive universe in the early stages. Now, so much of that has now led to other studios scrambling to do the same thing. You know, I mean, everybody wants one of these cohesive universe. DCEU ended, it just kind of wilted on the vine. You know, part of the problem was they put one person in the head of it, and then when it came time to what could have been their biggest film, they had second guesses. He had stepped away. They didn't lean into it. And they started backing with Joss Whedon. That didn't work. And it just kind of all spiraled. They had some hits, but mostly misses. You guys remember Universal's Dark Universe that they were going to do? You know, Tom Cruise's The Mummy. And then they backdoor tie-in Dracula Untold. And they had stuff in mind for Johnny Depp as the Invisible Man. And I think it was Benicio del Toro or somebody was going to be the Wolfman. They had big plans. Dead. Same thing with Valiant's Bloodshot film was supposed to launch that universe. Marvel's sister studio Under the Mouth Star Wars can't seem to get things right. And Sony, oh my God. Talk about shooting yourself in the foot every step of the way. Every studio wants to grow a hit movie into a cohesive universe. I mean, look at what they're doing with John Wick. 4 films, a television series, and now a spin-off that was written with nothing to do with the film, but they're going to work it in. I'm surprised Amazon hasn't launched a 004, 005, 007, or excuse me, 009 TV series since they purchased MGM. By the way, if you guys want to do that, call me. There are other downsides to cohesive universes besides how hard they are to start. Even harder now is that there is some people's expectations are higher. So when you do get it started, people expect more. A single bad movie may not completely derail all of the attempts, but they make fans weary. Would the reaction to some of the more recent Marvel films be as mixed if they hadn't hit the heights of Endgame and No Way Home? I used to bowl. Every Friday night, I'd get together with friends. This was in my 20s. I'd go out bowling. And I averaged about 170. Not great, not bad. I was consistent. I would even get up into the 180s on a good night. Then I had one game. Everything clicked. I had kids coming from other aisles to watch. Everything was just going. And I ended up scoring a 241. Now, it's not a fabulous score. But for me, that was the best I had ever done. The problem was I knew that I wasn't going to pass that. The odds of me doing that again, the odds of me, getting up there again, that started kind of souring it to me. Where I used to get excited for 170s and 180s, they just weren't satisfying anymore because I had hit this high. And I kind of stopped bowling after that. It wasn't immediate, but, I would think, again, what did I do? How do I get back in the groove? This happens with audiences as well. But there's something else that happens when you make a cohesive universe. You make a promise to your fans. You tell them that everything is connected, therefore, everything should have an answer. It doesn't have to happen right away, but you do have to give them an answer. I mean, think about it. In the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie, we see Sinestro get a yellow power ring at the end. Now, if Reynolds was brought into the Justice League movie as the same character, but we never went back to a Green Lantern solo movie, we never paid off the Sinestro thing, fans would be furious. Fans would be very furious. See, teases like that are a promise to be paid off later. And if the franchise dies, no one really cares. Because at that point, yeah. But if the franchise continues on in any way, the studio owes it to the fans to pay those teases off. And when you make a cohesive universe, it becomes the franchise. So just because one aspect of the universe doesn't do well, it doesn't mean you get to forget that corner of the universe. You bowled a 289, Triple B, that is awesome. My dad's best was a 287. He was a league bowler. So, now a perfect example of this is Tiamat, the dead celestial poking up out of the earth that was first introduced in the Eternals. Now, Marvel is going to address it in the upcoming Captain America Brave New World. So, promise kept. Cha-ching. But look at the fan reaction since the Eternals. A movie that didn't do well. Fans panned it. Yet, every time something new came out, you see a plethora of comments of people going, why is nobody talking about the giant figure coming up out of the ocean? Somebody should be talking about it. The only reference that we've seen since has been a side story on a newspaper in an episode of She-Hulk. You would think somebody like Captain Marvel or Miss Marvel would have mentioned it, but nope, nothing. So, anyway, Marvel has made promises to their fans that they need to address. And if the universe continues on, I'm sure they'll get to some of these, but I've got 15 here that are all post-Endgame. And we still don't know what happened. I mean, and that's not even counting, we don't know what happened to Steve Rogers when he showed up on Vormir to find the Red Skull. I'm sure there's some pre-end, there's a lot of pre-Endgame ones too. But let's, for now, just focus on these 15. Okay? Dane Whitman gets the Ebony Blade at the end of the Eternals. Now, the Eternals is giving us a lot of these. It's one of the two most popular, as in to produce these kind of endings. Now, this was rumored to lead into the Blade movie, which is why we got Mahershala Ali's voice at the end of the film. But that movie has not moved forward, and there's nothing that says Whitman's going to be in it. Any connection to the Ebony Blade. So we get introduced to the Black Knight. Nothing since. Not even a mention. Nothing. At all. Let's go on to Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel shows up at the end of The Marvels to recruit young Avengers. She's got Nick Fury's clipboard, shows up to find the female Hawkeye. I can't think of her name. Kate. Well, they've met, but nothing's happened. They have been, Kate Bishop, thank you. They have been talking about the Young Avengers forever. They've introduced a bunch of them. Nothing moved forward. Now, eventually we'll get to them, but again, promise not kept. How about the Council of Kangs? You can't show a stadium full of Kangs and then just slowly back away because he's not getting the fan excited like you thought he would. You have to resolve this. You can't just go, oh, we've moved on to Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom. Don't mind that guy over there. And yes, Jonathan Major getting into legal trouble is a problem, but you still have a stadium full of Kangs that you have left out there. You wrote that check. We'd like to cash it. Let's go back to the Marvels. You dropped Monica Rambeau into the X-Men universe. Now, unless you just don't like Tiona Paris and you're like, let's just get rid of her. People want to know what's going on, especially since the X-Men are supposed to be coming to the MCU. How come she didn't show up in Deadpool? Wouldn't that have made sense? We need to see her pop up in Secret Wars or something. We need an answer to that. How about the 10 Rings? At the very end of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, there is a placard, a place card that says the 10 Rings will return. We see Xia Ling is now the ruler of the 10 Rings, and we've got nothing. There was talk of a TV show, but we haven't even gotten Shang-Chi sequel after he met with Captain Marvel and Banner and Wong. Totally dropped the ball off of this. How about Doctor Strange? In the multiverse of madness, Clea shows up. Clea is a big character in the Doctor Strange universe. Charlize Theron is a big actress. You mentioned going back to the Dark Dimension from Dormammu in the very first movie. What's going on? Why is that not happening? You have to come back and tell that story. And get rid of that silly third eye. Looks horrible. Hercules. We got introduced to Hercules at the end of Thor: Love and Thunder, a movie nobody loved. But Brett Goldstein is Hercules, the guy from Ted Lasso that everybody fell in love with for being gruff and mean, but with a heart of gold, is now your Hercules. You've got him. Do something with him. This should have started filming immediately. They should have went right from that, sent Taika Waititi home, bring in a different director, and get him rolling on it. Been no movement on Hercules. I bet if you ask Brett Goldstein what he's doing with Hercules, he's not going to know because they haven't done anything. Remember Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Remember all the pandemic changed this story and that story? Yeah, what about Sharon Carter as the power broker? You turned a beloved character into an evil person and then forget about it? You could have mixed this into Secret Invasion. Have her wake up as next to Don Cheadle and Martin Freeman as she'd been replaced by a Skrull and just kind of wiped it away. But no. You forgot about it. So you still have work to do here. And let's go back to the 10 Rings. That scene with Banner and them. They mentioned that the 10 Rings were now sending a beacon out into space. To who? Are we going to find that out? Or is the number they're trying to reach disconnected and no longer in service? Let's go back to the Eternals. Erisham the Judge showed up in the sky. You got a giant guy in the ocean, and you bring a major pop star and a popular comedian in, and then do nothing with it. Or we're not going to do an Eternals 2. There's not really an audience for it. Harry Styles, Patton Oswalt, and you can't get a movie going. Harry frickin' Styles. How about Moon Knight? Jake Lockley showing up at the end. It's a minor one, I know. But come on. We need a Moon Knight season 2 like yesterday. Seriously. This was one of the best things Marvel did. Nothing. Where's the Vision? You give a series to Agatha frickin' Harkness because people liked a song. But we still don't know what happened to the Vision? If there isn't a series in the works right now, then make it happen or put him into Wonder Man or something. You can't just let this guy disappear. How about No Way Home? You put a drop of symbiote. You left behind a drop of symbiote. Now, I realize that sounds a little bit like a Weird Al parody of a Train song. And that joke is just for me, I know. But you can't introduce Venom into the main MCU and then pull him back and say, psych, you're not 10, you're 16. We expect more from you. We're not mad, we're disappointed. And you had Danny Rojas that you could have given the symbiote to. How about Abomination and Wong? You guys remember? That popped up in the middle of Shang-Chi. How the hell did Wong and Abomination hook up? And are the two of them really living together in this bizarre sitcom life with Madison with a Y, but not where you think? If they are, then show us. If not, still show us. I really do need that one. Abomination, Wong, and Madison, I think that's a TV show. And my 15th one, we're going to get Val in the upcoming Thunderbolts, but I'm pretty sure in Wakanda Forever, she was going to have the CIA invade Wakanda. What happened with that? Valentine Allegra de Fontaine, Contessa, whatever. You can't just throw something out there like that and forget about it. We made a deal with you that we were going to follow all this stuff and you were going to treat it like it was all together connected. And if you think those are all, like I said, that they're all tied to the multiverse and that somehow the Infinity Saga was wrapped up nicely in a little bow, let me remind you of, we don't know what happened to Betty Ross. We never saw whether the Scorpion got his revenge on Spider-Man. What the hell happened to the agent of Hydra who got the PIM particles at the end of Ant-Man? Wasn't Baron Mordo going around killing sorcerers? Did he just stop? Did he take a break? Who bought Avengers Towers? There's 4 or 5 right there just from the previous one. They never got around to. And Ed wants his Howard the Duck movie. Seriously. Get Ed a Howard the Duck movie. But I mean, this is the same thing that Star Wars now has because they canceled The Acolyte. Even though they canceled the series, the characters of Osha and her new master, they need to be addressed, and whatever that creepy guy sticking around the rock was. Plus, this is an entire era of lore that they're putting a lot of effort into in the books and the comics and stuff like that, but they do one TV show, it doesn't get great response, and nope, we're done. You can't do that. You can fold them into another series, but you can't just forget about them. So you made a promise to the fans when you did that. And now you got to come around and answer it. All right, what did I miss from you guys? Now that you're back from the asteroid, drops of symbiote in your hair. Very nice. Very nice, JD. I'm proud of you. I lost hope with it being all connected with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm not even expecting them to connect to Marvel television stuff. Basically, only the stuff that came out of the Kevin Feige studio, those are the ones that I need answered. They told Gunn he could throw Howard in there, but they weren't doing anything with him. Aaliyah Thompson cameo in a Howard the Duck movie. You know what they need to do? They've got a lot of these things they could answer in an hour special. And they've done 2 1-hour specials, and they were both great. Why aren't they doing more of those? Hercules versus Thor in an hour special. Fine, do that. Howard the Duck hour special. What happened to the Nova Corps? There's a lot of things you could do in a 1-hour special and get a satisfactory answer. Even a 1-hour special about the 10 rings or just something, Start using that format that you created because people like that format. Ed says, I'm bummed they didn't do another Halloween special. Yeah. There you go. So it's a lot of stuff going on that they really need an answer to. So, all right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. And when I come back, we'll talk about Agatha and Penguin. Be right back.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.
Ask your local comic shop to add Battle Quest comics to your pull list today. Something is speaking to you.
Play more comics.
Just at the edge of your perception.
Play more comics.
Your senses fill with visions of vortices.
360 comics.
Slowly drawing you to one thundering epiphany.
360 comics! 360 comics! 360 comics!
The universe is telling you to shop with 360 Comics. Joe's got amazing stock from high dollar to $5 books from Silver Age to modern. CGC, variant covers, and more. 360 Comics every Wednesday at 9 Eastern, part of The Experience.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dan Wickline Show. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Stick around for What's in the Box, the Geek Chat, and Sketch Up. Real quick, I just want to cover... Mom fell. She needs help. All right. Going to do this quick because I have to go. Have not catch up on Ring of Powers. I'm going to try to do that this week. Agatha All Along was great. Absolutely loved it, but it was really short, and I think we got a big reveal, but I don't know how that's going to pan out. But if it does look like he's going to be who we thought he was going to be, talking about teen, but it'd be interesting to see what that's going to be going forward. Also on Penguin, that show just keeps getting better and better, doesn't it? I mean, that episode from Victor's point of view was so brilliant. And just seeing what Colin Farrell is doing acting-wise, what Kristen Milotti is doing acting-wise, there's got to be some Emmys there. So, all right, guys, I have to go. My mom needs my help. She fell, so I got to go. I will see you guys next week, and be safe. And we'll talk more about Agatha and everything else. So, have a good night.
Twitch, it's not just what happens when you have too many energy drinks anymore. Check out our content over there, too.